Well, at least we now know there is at least one pro wrestler on the planet that can take the headlines away from CM Punk, at least for 1 week. It just happens to be a female that's been out of action for months. But I shouldn't be too shocked because everything she does is polarizing. Of course, we're talking Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. Contradicting reports in the last 12 hours, some stating that WWE has closed the bank on Sasha, other reports stating not so fast. We'll talk all about it in this upload, the latest developments, and it is a wild 48 hours in regards to Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. So there's a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. Yesterday, BC put up a big live stream. It was my way to say thank you to all of my channel members, what I call my gold card unit, the board of directors of the channel. But beyond that, it was a big thank you to all of my subscribers. If you guys caught an upload from BC and you showed that support, smash those ups. You were an amplified subscriber. That was a thank you to all of you, each and every one of you. But if you are a channel member, yesterday's live stream was a way for me to give you an extra level of a thank you. Because that's the coolest thing, to know that you guys are chucking a coffee at the top of every month to the channel. It's never needed. It's just always appreciated. So that was my way to show you that I appreciate you guys. So that was supposed to end the year in terms of uploads. A big thank you to all of you. And then I'll see you next year. The next upload is supposed to be the Packers vs. Vikings review, in which I still anticipate it to be the last time I put Packers and playoffs in the same sentence for 2023, unfortunately. But it's not looking good for tomorrow night, Sunday Night Football for my Packers. But that was the next upload. It was supposed to be for New Year's Day. It was going to take a big wrestling story for me to put up an upload beforehand. But here we are. And again, I shouldn't be too shocked because it has to do with Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. Everything she does is polarizing. Do you guys realize all of this talk, all of these headlines? Sasha Banks, it's the top story. It doesn't matter if it's a dirt sheet, a reputable report, a journalist. It's all about Sasha right now. This is somebody who has not wrestled in months. This is all based on teases, speculation, and contradicting reporting. And yet she's on top of the news cycle in pro wrestling. That's a polarizing individual. This has always been a pro Bray Wyatt, pro Sasha Banks channel. For BC, it's those two and everybody else is a far distant second. Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, something about those two captivate me more than anybody else in the business, in the industry. So I was always the biggest advocate for Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, to get exactly what she has earned. Not just deserves. I don't even like that word usually. But what she has earned is top pay. At least bare minimum in her division for the ladies. If she's not one of the top, if not the top paid, there's a problem. Because she's everybody's best match. Let's just look at the wrestling side of it. She's everybody's best match. We say this all the time like a broken record on this channel. But it needs to be repeated, whether it's an Io Sky, an Asuka, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Charlie Flair several times, Bayley several times, a Zelina Vega or a Carmella. Everybody's best match is with Sasha Banks. Or at least one of their best, but top three for sure. And with Charlie Flair and Becky Lynch and Bayley several times over. So wrestling side of things, she's top of the heap. She's the common denominator in everybody's greatest match. There's no other female you can say that about. But above just the matches, right? I preach all the time on this channel. Pro wrestling is way more than just the wrestling. If you want just wrestling, then go to a college and watch amateur wrestling. Pro wrestling is the storylines. Good guy, bad guy's cheating. Good guy has to overcome it. That's the fun. It's the theatrics. It's the entertainment. It's a dirty word in pro wrestling, right? We always have to say wrestling and wrestler. Not entertainment and not entertainer. But they are. It's one of the same. We just get into this goofy tribalism. It's more than just a wrestling. So the wrestling side in itself, she has earned top pay in the industry wherever she goes. But the fact that she is this polarizing, the fact that she does move the needle, the fact that she is always, whether people claim they love her or claim they hate her, they're talking about her always. She's polarizing. So Stardom alone, no pun intended to Stardom, that was part of the live stream yesterday, WWE wanting to work with Stardom. But her superstardom alone has earned her top pay. The wrestling is almost the icing on the cake, but it's not the cake. The cake is Sasha herself, Mercedes herself. The icing on the cake is how damn good she is in that ring. She can have a wrestling match with a sack of potatoes and it would be 10 stars. For anybody that cares about a fictitious star rating system. Sasha Banks. Mercedes Moné has earned top pay. So the reports recently was that to go back to WWE, she wants Charlotte Flair type money. One report even said a little bit more than Charlie Flair because she feels she's worth it. I don't think that's an outrageous thing to ask for. Charlie Flair is not everybody's best match. Charlie Flair is not the most athletic female in WWE. She's not. In fact, NXT's Tiffany Stratton would like a little chit-chat if that's the case. Naomi was more athletic than Charlie. Naomi just never got the time of day. Trinity Fatu. So Charlotte Flair is the benchmark in WWE and really all of pro wrestling. The top paid female, all of it. But when you really break it down, why? It's only because WWE anointed her as such. Vincent Kennedy McMahon and Paul Levesque McMahon for sure. He loves the whole Ric Flair name more than probably Ric Flair himself. Levesque McMahon loves Charlie Flair even more than Vincent Kennedy. But both of them have propelled Charlie Flair to this status that nobody thinks they can touch or try to question. But why? Why can Naomi not be in the same ballpark as Charlie Flair? Why has Naomi been with WWE 10 years before she left and only had 2 title reigns? Charlie in 7 years collects 13, 14 reigns, whatever it is. Why can Sasha Banks not even ask for Charlie Flair money without the wrestling community going ballistic? What? No way, man. She's not in Charlie's league. Says who? Sasha, I'm pretty sure, can botch a moonsault every match if that's the asking deal here. If that's what's going to get her the Charlie Flair money, she'll botch a moonsault every night. Is it because she doesn't do the figure 8 leg lock? It's a leg lock, and you're up on your arms. I'm pretty sure my dogs can do that. What is it? Natural selection? It's just a somersault. I'm pretty sure you learn that when you're out of the womb. No knocking, but I'm trying to ask, why is Charlie untouchable? It shouldn't be that way. If anybody deserves top pay, it would be Mercedes Moné. Sasha Banks. So if the report from the jump a couple of days ago, and for those that just catch, I know we're all over the place. There's so much to talk about in a little amount of time, but there was a report that WWE and Mercedes Moné and her people, they're talking, they're negotiating. That's awesome. Everything that Mercedes has been teasing has all been about WWE. Everything. WWE teases. Just recently, she was outside the TD Bank Arena, Garden, whatever you call it now. It's always going to be the Boston Garden of BC. But the TD Bank Arena. And she's outside the building posting a photo as WWE is inside that building. It was their holiday tour. And they were inside that building. And then the report came out that she was inside that building for an amount of time. We don't know if that was talking to top officials or just seeing some old friends. Was she dotting I's, crossing T's? Nobody really knows. But she was granted access, which tells you WWE has no animosity to Banks, to Mercedes Moné. But I mean, she posted that for a reason, right? Then it's Sasha in front of the Paul Levesque McMahon Triple H massive poster. That was in the last 24 hours. All of these teases, WWE, 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 right? It subconsciously tells everybody your mind is on WWE. Because how weird would that be if everything she's talking about or teasing is WWE, 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 and then all of a sudden on a random Thursday night she shows up on TNA's television show? Does that really have the same impact? No pun intended. Probably not. And it's because it's not a good swerve, right? If that's what you're thinking, like, well, BC, it's kind of like a swerve. She's going to mention and tease WWE, and then all of a sudden she's going to show up elsewhere. But you're kind of setting up an expectation, you're all this anticipation for that stage. And then you show up to a show, and this is not a knock on TNA. It's an honest conversation. You're showing up to a show that gets a small fraction of WWE's audience. Is that the best stage for Banks? I'm just asking. And that's not a knock to TNA, because I stick up for that women's division all the time. They have one of the best women's divisions. They always have one of the best women's division you're going to find in pro wrestling. And when you have somebody like Gail Kim working behind the scenes, I'm not shocked. She's really smart. And that women's division is always thriving, not just surviving. And then you add somebody like Naomi, Trinity Fatu, and it's going to continue to thrive. But it's just a question, as a pro Sasha Banks channel, a channel that always puts Banks up on that pedestal, because I truly believe that's where she belongs, on a pedestal. I gotta ask, is that the best stage for her? Is that a stage that is going to allow her to move the needle? Because a lot of times you see that, right? A top star will go somewhere and they didn't move the needle. How much of that is on the wrestler, and how much is that on just bad booking? The booker, the promoter didn't have a good storyline to start with. They didn't put them in the right position. The stage is too small. They couldn't really do anything. They were finished before they started. Right? You just saw that with Edge. Edge went over to Alternative Entertainment Wrestling, AEW, and man, you talk about not moving the needle, that's BS. He did move the needle. Unfortunately, it went backwards. You guys know, man. Massive love for Adam Copeland Edge. Always want the best for that dude. Was really hoping that when he went over there, they had something huge planned for him. And they went right back to this old Christian thing. And while it might be fun for a lot of people, it's not intriguing. It's not enough for people to want to or have to tune in every week. And the ratings showed you that. And unfortunately, Edge's numbers, whenever he was on, they were just going backwards. That was sad to see. Now, we know Edge is a big enough star. It's just the stage was too small. Collision was a show centered around CM Punk. It could have worked. Even on a Saturday night against college football and boxing and UFC, I get it. And even occasional WWE pay-per-views on Saturday night. But it still could have worked. You just have to start from the jump. On episode 1, you have to have something massive for CM Punk, storyline-wise. And unfortunately, instead, Tony Khan just had CM Punk in a 6-man tag with FTR. And they wonder why the very next week and the weeks after, they were losing hundreds of thousands of viewers. I'm not shocked. Nobody tuned in on day 1 to see a 6-man tag. That's the best you got. They didn't put these top stars in the right positions. And when you do that, they're pretty much DOA. So Banks teases WWE. For a whole month, she's been doing that. And then what? She just shows up to TNA? Is that really going to be a split? Because I see that in the community. No matter where Sasha shows up, Mercedes Moné shows up, it's going to be a massive deal for that company. It's going to really move the needle. No, that's the hope. There's even a part of me that says that. But then you got to look on the other side of things. She can only do so much. The promotion, the company, has to set the stage up for her to be successful. You can't set somebody up for failure, and then when they fail, go, man, I thought you were going to do better for us. No, you did that. You set them up for failure. That is just a massive botch if Paul Levesque McMahon just let Mercedes Moné slip through the cracks. And then it just comes down to, the question is, where does she go? We just talked about a couple of scenarios, right? TNA or AEW, or she goes back to Japan. Man, you're asking her to come in. I guess the best case scenario would be she literally becomes the nucleus of the division, the foundation, the centerpiece. You're hoping that she can hold all of that weight on her back. And I guess you're hoping that Tony Khan, if it's AEW, magically overnight learns how to book a division. I mean, that's what I mean. Guys, it's okay to have it's okay to look at that glass as half full and not half empty. I get it. More positive than negative. I get it. But it's intuitive that we are realistic in what we are thinking. I mean, to think that a wrestler just going somewhere is going to be the be-all, end-all. Everything is fixed. Rip off the Band-Aid, that wound is healed. Because Edge showed up. CM Punk is in AEW. Now they really have competition. Sorry, WWE. No, it never became such, did it? Having big-time names go somewhere is not going to move the needle in and of itself. You have to meet them halfway. The problem for Tony Khan in AEW isn't that he doesn't have top female stars. That's never been the issue. He just doesn't present them properly. Most of the time, doesn't even give them the proper time, effort, and care. The problem with TNA isn't the fact that they don't have stars or they don't have great wrestlers that could put on really great matches for the females. That's not TNA's issue. It's not even the booking for TNA. They can put together some kick-ass stories. The product presentation from top to bottom has failed them for so long. Nobody is giving them another look, and they're not giving anybody another reason to. Just saying, hey, everybody, we signed Sasha. They're going to look at TNA's presentation, see the same TNA they remember from 5 years ago, and keep moving. If they're not an avid viewer of TNA, they're going to keep the line moving. Oh, wow, that's cute, man. Sasha's over there. Cool. Maybe if I have time, I'm going to check out one of her matches. That's what they're going to say. Everything else has to be put in place like a puzzle that needs every piece put where it belongs for the puzzle to be complete. Cody Rhodes going to WWE. If you thought that was just going to freaking bolster Cody Rhodes and WWE to the promised land, no, everything else had to work out perfectly, and they did. That whole bloodline storyline, the Rumble victory, even when there was struggling adversity with half his body blue and purple and he's inside Hell in a Cell, man, everything that Cody has done has just worked out beautifully. Unfortunately, you had the botch at WrestleMania, and he's kind of been average AF the entire year. 3 matches with Brock and 62 matches with the Judgment Day. That's a real statistic, by the way. 60 of his 94 victories this year have been against the Judgment Day. So, I mean, he's at an average year after Mania, but he's still a top star. And that's because the machine actually propelled him for us to care about WrestleMania 39 as much as we did. If Paul Levesque McMahon let Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné slip through the cracks, man, that is the biggest botch that he could possibly do. Again, there's reports that are saying, guys, literally an hour before I was able to record this, there is a report saying the talks have not stopped. They're paused till after the holidays. That WWE has not stopped the talks. They're paused. Big difference from stop and pause, right? Like if you're watching a movie and you stop. Usually it'll take you right off the movie, right? Off demand, and you're back on cable somehow. When you pause it, they're just kind of still, right? Until you come back with your meal or done from going to the bathroom, right? And then you just unpause it, and then they're back at it. Right. I mean, there is a big difference between stop and pause. And to say that all talks have stopped, WWE has moved on, but then we hear no, they've just paused till after the holidays. Well, that's a big difference. So again, it's all it's all based on teases from Sasha herself, Mercedes. A lot of speculation, a lot of mixed contradictory reporting. And here we are with the most polarizing topic. Once again, Mercedes Moné. If Paul Levesque McMahon doesn't see that, that's the problem. And by the way, reports said that at the day one event, Monday Night Raw, a former champion is showing up. Paul Levesque McMahon actually kind of responded to that report. He said, I can't say much about it. All I can say is stay tuned. A big former champion showing up to Monday Night Raw. Paul Levesque McMahon pretty much just confirmed it. We'll see. Till next time, and there will be that next time. I will see you guys. We will talk next year right here on the channel. Much love and respect to all of my subscribers out there. Even more love and respect over to my channel members. Top guys, we are out of 2023. BC saying check you. Peace. Go long. Go. Go long.